27th, 2023 afternoon session of the Portland City Council. Keelan, good afternoon. Please call the roll.
Gonzalez.
Here.
Maps. Rubio. Here. Ryan.
Here.
Wheeler.
Here. We're going to hear from legal counsel on the rules of order and decorum. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Welcome to the Portland City Council. To testify before council in person or virtually, you must sign up in advance on the council agenda at www.portland.gov/council/agenda. Information on engaging with City Council can be found on the council clerk's webpage. The presiding officer preserves order and decorum during City Council meetings. The presiding officer determines the length of testimony. Individuals generally have 3 minutes to testify unless otherwise stated. A timer will indicate when your time is done. Disruptive conduct, such as shouting, refusing to conclude your testimony when your time is up, or interrupting others' testimony or council deliberations will not be allowed. If you cause a disruption, a warning will be given. Further disruption will result in ejection from the meeting. Anyone who fails to leave once ejected is subject to arrest for trespass. Additionally, council may take a short recess and reconvene virtually. Your testimony today should address the matter being considered. When testifying, state your name for the record. Your address is not necessary. Disclose if you're a lobbyist. If you're representing an organization, please identify it. For testifiers joining virtually, please unmute yourself once the council clerk calls your name. Thank you.
All right. First item tonight, 819, which is a report.
Accept Halpern Landscape Conservancy Keller Auditorium Renovation Design Concept Report.
Good afternoon, everyone. We're here to hear the Halpern Landscape Conservancy's Keller Auditorium Renovation Design Concept Report. The work on this report, just to review, was funded by grants from the City of Portland, Metro, and significant private contributions from private parties through the Halpern Landscape Conservancy. I want to thank John Russell and Scott Andrews and others from the Halpern Landscape Conservancy for supporting the conservation of one of Portland's most iconic performing arts venues, the Keller Auditorium. I also want to thank Metro councilors, MERT commissioners, and City and Metro staff who are here joining us virtually for their hard work as well as their participation over the course of the past year. Without further ado, let's dive into this. We're here to welcome Carl Lyle, who's the Spectator Venues Program Manager from the Office of Management and Finance. Carl, good afternoon, as well as Robin Williams, who's Executive Director of the Portland Fives Center for the Arts, who are here to introduce the report on a potential renovation design option for the Keller Auditorium. Good afternoon.
Thank you, Mayor and Commissioners. If we could get the slides. I think you guys are going to run the slides. Great, thank you. Yeah, so we'll just do a short introduction and hand it over to the Halpern Landscape folks and their consultants to present the report and go through the discussion with you. So just as a clarifying reminder, the city owns Keller Auditorium. It's always good to remind folks of this, but it's operated by Metro under the oversight of the Metropolitan Exposition and Recreation Commission, and Portland 5 is part of Metro. So that's the organizational situation there. Let's see, let's go to the next slide and the next slide. Great. Okay, so just a little background on sort of how we got to this point. As you likely know, the Keller Auditorium has been faithfully serving our community for over 100 years and is currently the only stage in our region capable of hosting traveling Broadway shows, large format opera and ballet productions. It also hosts numerous, marquee concerts and lots of other events. And Robin can tell you a little bit more about that and the role that it plays in the region. It's very important. What you may not know is that when the building opened in 1917, it was essentially a large brick box. The theater that we know today came into existence in the late 1960s after extensive renovations that transformed that brick box into the modernist concrete and glass structure that we see today. However, hidden under those concrete exterior panels in that 1960s look are several of the key structural elements from 1917. It is actually supported in large part by masonry walls from the original building, and the roof structure is original as well. As a result of these structural elements that have lasted so long, over 100 years in the building is currently listed on the city's inventory of unreinforced masonry buildings and is not expected to perform well in a large seismic event. That's kind of part of the main reason that we're looking at this today, right? In preparation for expected mandates that were coming over the last decade or so to require retrofits of public unreinforced masonry buildings, the city undertook a study, I think we got started in 2017-ish, finished in 2020, to better understand the building's structural shortcomings. That study, which is available on our website if anybody's interested in it, confirmed that the building has some real structural challenges and is not expected to do well in a major seismic event. It went a few steps further, that study, and suggested that there were a couple conceptual paths moving forward. One is you could try to renovate the building just to address those structural deficiencies. You'd end up spending a lot of money, and you'd still have a building that was deficient in many other ways. So that's not very exciting. A major renovation that tried to get the most out of the building, which is kind of what you're going to see today, presented by the Halpern Landscape folks and their consultants, with possible additions, and they do have some additions and expansions of the facility. So get the most out of the old building. Or the third option was consider a total replacement of the structure, given its age and deficiencies, either on the site or elsewhere. And the elsewhere piece is kind of key because that's a parallel path that's still moving forward. So around the same time, the Halpern Landscape Conservancy, or it may not have been the Halpern Landscape Conservancy at that time, but a group associated with them of private property owners, including John Russell and others, launched an international design competition. I won't go into that in detail. I'm sure that they will. That resulted in the selection of the sort of core, the originator of the proposal that you'll see today by Stu Fish Entertainment Architects and Curry and Associates. And to further develop that concept, the Halpern Landscape Conservancy was awarded these grants from both the city and Metro to advance the study and develop the report that you'll hear today. So that's kind of where we are and how we got here. Next slide, please. So just to reiterate, we've got two parallel paths going on. Renovation of the existing Keller is clearly a viable option to address its deficiencies, but we're also exploring the opportunity to consider a new large performance venue that could do many of the same things on an alternative site. A key benefit to considering building new in an alternative location is that it would allow continued use of the existing facility throughout that lengthy construction period and minimizing the impacts of having to close the building for a long time. So to better understand that possibility of what could happen with a new construction alternative somewhere else, the city issued a request for expressions of interest to local property owners in July. We received 8 responses, and we're currently in the process of identifying the top 2 for further study and evaluation so that we can learn more about really what that would look like, what it would cost, what would be the pros and cons, and bring that conversation back to City Council for a more thorough weighing of all the different options sometime in the first half of next year. So before I go into the next steps in more detail and hand it over to the Halpern folks, I'd like Robin to briefly talk about the role of the Keller Auditorium in the performing arts ecosystem and in our region.
Okay, thank you, Carl. Thank you, Mayor and Council. We're really happy to be here to speak before you. The Keller is a very critical venue to our portfolio of arts venues. It hosts 400,000 guests annually, or about 40% of our total guests. It has a very large stage, and it's the only venue in our region that can meet the staging needs of Broadway, large-scale operas, and other large productions. Its 3,000 seating capacity allows very large, very expensive shows to be economically viable, and it ensures that these shows don't skip Portland. The Keller supports hundreds of good-paying jobs for stagehands, engineers, custodians, ushers, security agents, ticketing staff, and food and beverage workers. Its estimated economic impact in FY22 was more than $28 million in direct and indirect spending, and it has approximately $13 million in labor income. The revenues that are generated by the Keller are approximately 50% of P5's annual revenue. And this is revenue that we use to help support nonprofit usage of our venues. Our greatest concern right now about the renovation is the multi-year closure of Keller. It would significantly impact our regional culture and economy because there is nowhere in our region for these larger shows. This is a very complex decision, and it requires very careful thought and consideration due to the impacts on Portland's cultural and economic well-being. Portland 5 appreciates this council's willingness to take a thoughtful and well-informed look at this issue. Thank you. Carl?
Thanks, Robin. Next slide, please. Okay, just so briefly touching on next steps. So as a reminder, no decisions are being made today. We're accepting the report prepared by Halpern Landscape Conservancy. It's going to be very, very exciting. Just a little spoiler there. More exploration is needed to fully understand the sort of options of alternative sites and what that would take and whether that's something we want to look more seriously at. And we expect to be coming back with some additional analysis and engaging the public and interested parties and stakeholders sometime next year for that discussion. So that's where we are today, and I think with that, unless there's questions for us, we'll step back and just hand it over to the Halpern folks. Great.
Welcome.
Mr. Mayor, members of council, I'm John Russell, 1727 Southwest Hawthorne Terrace in Portland. Let me make a couple comments about what Carl did. One, I are an engineer, an undergraduate. The Keller as it sits is safe. Does it meet code? No. But I developed Pac West Center across the street. Does it meet current code? No. Both buildings are safe. There's no need to do anything to increase the safety. Secondly, it's important to us that all of the other sort of alternatives you're looking at shouldn't be viewed as alternatives. We would love it if all of those happened. The city would be enriched if that would happen. But this shot, you can go back a slide. And this report just sends shivers down my spine because they represent a dream come true for many of us. What we see began some 7 years ago as a neighborhood improvement project. This recently completed study of the Keller Auditorium's expansion and modernization has been in the best tradition of major Portland projects that combined public and private efforts. Our study has been, as has been noted, has been a collaboration in cost sharing of the city, the Keller's owner, Metro, the Keller's operator through American Portland 5, and a number of us concerned citizens. It's important to note that this Keller rejuvenation project completely parallels the transformation of the 1924 Paramount movie theater into what we now know as the Schnitzer Concert Hall. The Schnitz was also a project between the public and private sectors. The symphony wanted and deserved a better place to play. You're probably aware that in the 1960s, the city completely transformed the Keller to what we see today. It had to meet, in order to get a permit, it had to meet all of the city requirements in terms of fire safety, earthquake safety, mechanical standards, and so on. Its exterior is reminiscent of the then brand-new Philharmonic Hall in New York, in Lincoln Center. They look a lot alike. That was the fashion of the time. And by the way, New York has just finished a $750 million renovation of the Philharmonic Hall because it's 60 years old. Our neighborhood is unique in that most of the buildings are owned by Portlanders, not necessarily by national institutions. PSU with 45 blocks, St. Mary's with 2 blocks, the Mark and Goodman's families with 5, the Saltzman family with 5, Schnitzer with 1. So 8 years ago, our neighborhood got together and hired Don Stastny, who should be a household name, but he's not. He's the global guru of design competitions, to undertake a design competitions to solicit proposals exploring the urban design relationship among the Keller, the Fountain, and the surrounding neighborhood. The exterior of the current building doesn't begin to convey the magic that happens inside. In contrast to the other buildings of Portland 5, if you drive up Broadway and you see the marquee of the Schnitz, you're aware that something exciting is happening inside. The competition winner was a collaboration between Stu Fish Entertainment Architects from London and Michael Curry Design based here in Oregon. With city and metro staff members, we hired Hanna-Berry Architects to lead the study, and together we filled out the design team with what I regard as a dream team of professionals. The team has been working since January with the users, among them the opera, the ballet, Broadway Across America, PBOT, the Water Bureau, the Planning Bureau, and others who work in the building, workers in the building, to develop a comprehensive understanding of the needs. You'll hear from others about the irreplaceable infrastructure that's been built up around the Keller, not by accident. There's 3,000 parking spaces, hotel rooms, restaurants, and public transit within a few blocks. Maybe most importantly, the Keller has become a significant component of a cultural district that has always been critical to the success of Portland. Art in its many forms brings us all together. But nothing this significant happens without partnerships. We look forward to continuing to work with our partners to see this study become a reality. The next speaker is Tim Eddy, the principal of Hanna-Berry Eddy.
Thanks, John. Good afternoon, Mayor, Commissioners. I'm Tim Eddy, president of Hanna-Berry Eddy Architects, and our firm is responsible for the design and technical team for the feasibility analysis for rehabilitating and expanding the Keller Auditorium. John's provided some background on the study that we've done, the work that preceded our involvement, and our collective mission of the team. Next slide, please. So the Keller Auditorium has served the greater Portland region for more than 100 years as a venue for concerts and theater performances, presidential speeches, high school graduations, and more. The Keller is the largest, as Carl mentioned, the largest theatrical auditorium in Oregon. It's the only theater in Portland capable of hosting Broadway performances, large operas, ballet productions, and so forth. Next slide, please. So it was first built in 1917, substantially modernized in 1967. After the past 5.5 decades of service as a City of Portland asset, the Keller Auditorium is due to be rehabilitated to current standards. Next slide, please. The purpose of our effort is to revitalize, rehabilitate, and expand the Keller into a state-of-the-art, world-class performing arts venue while realizing the benefits of its centralized location, surrounding infrastructure, existing structure and materials, and its potential to energize its neighborhood and take better advantage of its physical relationship to the world-renowned Keller Fountain designed by Lawrence Halprin. Next slide, please. Seismic study commissioned by the City of Portland 2018 through 2020 confirmed, like many older civic buildings in Portland, the Keller was not built to withstand a major earthquake without sustaining significant damage. The early structural study was prepared, though, in the absence of programming and conceptual design or materials testing and soils engineering information. Around that time, a preliminary redevelopment program for the building was prepared separately by a different consultant for the city. Next slide, please. As part of working towards this exceptional concept, our team recently completed this comprehensive 8-month feasibility, multidisciplinary feasibility study for the Keller Auditorium, including programming, architectural, structural, soils engineering, urban design, and construction cost estimating and schedule planning. This work incorporates programming direction from the arts groups that use the Keller, along with those who manage and maintain it. This in-depth feasibility analysis utilized soils information and structural testing of existing reinforced concrete and brick masonry walls that weren't available for the early study commissioned by the city. This work should be considered a reliable guide for redevelopment of the facility and should be considered to supersede the prior studies. Next slide, please. The scope of our design work and feasibility analysis includes implementing the concept that Stu Fish and Michael Curry developed to expand the front of house of the building so that it will actively engage the Keller Fountain and implement the building frontages on Clay and Market Streets to convey the art and activity that thrives inside the building. This includes incorporating a dramatic curving sloped glass curtain wall addition on the west, creating public lobby space at all levels commensurate with the scale of the auditorium while embracing and directing views toward the Keller Fountain. Next slide, please. Importantly, the expansion of the front of house spaces accommodates expanded restrooms and concession spaces, properly sized for the capacity of the building, in addition to a generous open public stair connecting all 3 levels of the front of house. Next slide.
The restrooms in particular are for women, which apparently has been plagued that building from the beginning, so.
We performed technical and design analysis of closing the block of Southwest 3rd Avenue between Clay and Market to regular vehicular traffic to create a programmable urban plaza connecting the Keller Auditorium and the Keller Fountain so that they can operate as one. Next slide, please. The concept includes expansion of the building to the east to accommodate a code-compliant and proper loading facility, reconstructed dressing rooms, additional rehearsal space, and other backstage program areas requested by the user groups. This approach enables us to bring natural light and views in and out of backstage areas that house the day-to-day activities, the business activities of the production companies who use the building. Next slide, please. Our structural engineering team has developed a design to seismically retrofit the building to bring it fully into compliance with current code for new buildings, which also differs from the 2018 study, which was based on the reduced standard required for retrofitting existing buildings. Next slide, please. The concept embraces the robust inclusivity inherent to universal accessibility and full compliance with the Americans with Disabilities Act throughout the site, interior public, and back-of-house spaces. Next slide. The concept recrafts the auditorium itself through, first, raising the stage elevation and restructuring and expanding the orchestra pit. Second, constructing new orchestra seating level over the existing orchestra seating to maintain superior sight lines and equitably distribute accessible seating throughout the auditorium. And third, adding new box seating and widening circulation aisles and installing new seating throughout the entire building. The redesign of the auditorium also includes replacing all finishes and lighting, new physical acoustical treatments, along with adding an electronic sound enhancement system to provide current state-of-the-art performance and accommodate a wider range of artist demands. Next slide, please. It's important to note that the rehabilitation project preserves most of the embodied carbon in the concrete, masonry, and steel of the existing structure. This provides for a carbon-efficient facility, and additionally, the concept is designed to structurally accommodate a large solar array on the roof. The study has concluded that it is feasible to upgrade the Keller Auditorium to the standards of a state-of-the-art 21st century performance venue and to resolve all of the facility's current physical and operational challenges. Next slide. The estimated construction costs and soft costs to complete this project on an accelerated schedule, where the auditorium would be taken out of service for only 19 months, which is the top line on this chart, is approximately $267 million, presuming a 2027 construction start. That's important to note. For comparison purposes, based on cost for a new facility that have been escalated forward from the city's 2018 study, the cost to rehabilitate and expand the Keller is a little more than half the estimated cost of a new performing arts facility and accompanied structured parking serving the same program.
Quick question.
This does not include the cost of acquiring land
That was a
or
trick question.
or any added program spaces that may be incorporated into the new facility. Is there a question?
I had a question
answered
for
it.
you. Answered my question.
Oh, okay.
On acquisition costs. Thank you.
Got it. Okay, next slide, please. So downtown Portland is the cultural center of the region. It's really the cultural center of the entire state. The Keller Auditorium is situated in the heart of downtown, in close proximity to the Schnitz, to PCPA, the Portland Art Museum, the Oregon Historical Society, and Portland State University. The relationship of the Keller Auditorium and all of the arts and cultural facilities, for that matter, to downtown Portland is even more important today as the core of the city struggles to emerge from its malaise. While the Keller brings a great deal to downtown, another way to look at it is what does downtown bring to the Keller? And there's a very important synergy here because the Keller is strategically located not necessarily by design, but by the circumstances of how the city has grown up around it. First, of course, is the relationship to the Keller Fountain, the catalyst for the design proposal that Stu Fish and Michael Curry put forward. But there's a lot more. Its place on the Halpern sequence, its proximity to a major university, about 2,700 four-star hotel rooms within a 10-minute walk, and over 4,500 off-street parking stalls within a 5-minute walk to the front door. 4 blocks to streetcar, 4 blocks to light rail, less than 10 blocks in multiple directions to freeways in north, south, east, west. These assets are irreplaceable, and a 21st century Keller Auditorium will leverage downtown Portland and is essential to downtown's renaissance. In fact, this project may actually prove to be the low-hanging fruit compared to the other challenges that the city is facing. Next slide, please. So the next steps in this process, some of the next steps, there are a lot of next steps, I guess, but some of the things that should be completed over the next few months to help City Council in decision-making in this matter will be to move the equity, inclusion, and community engagement process forward, to complete a thorough economic and funding analysis for the project, and further engagement in reviewing required entitlement work with the range of City of Portland bureaus that would be involved in a project like this: planning, sustainability, transportation, BDS, parks, and others. Next slide, please. And the next slide, please. So in summary, in conclusion, if the cultural and historic aspects of the Keller, combined with its setting in the core of downtown, weren't compelling enough reasons to rehabilitate and expand it, it's far less expensive, faster, and more environmentally responsible to do so than to build a replacement facility elsewhere and demolish the Keller. This, however, notwithstanding the need to program and build complementary additional performing arts space in Portland in the future. We need more. Thank you very much. And I'd like to turn it over to Diana Stewart with the Downtown Neighborhood Association.
Good afternoon, Mr. Mayor and City Council. I'm Diana Stewart. I live in the River Place area, and I'm Downtown Neighborhood Association board member. In the absence of our chair, Walt Weiler, I'm speaking today on behalf of the DNA's 500-plus members enthusiastically supporting the renovation of the Keller. DNA members live, study, and work in the downtown, the core of the city. We're still here fighting for the city. We love and we want to see this city come back to life. The downtown needs wins right now, in the next couple of years, not in 10 or 15 years, but now. The Halpern sequence has always been Portland's chain of park gems. This exciting design of the Keller Auditorium seamlessly flows from to the fountain and is a sparkling setting for those gems, demonstrating Portland's commitment not to just revitalizing our streets and our businesses, but our cultural significance to the region as well. This renovation is an important symbol which you can make to the state, to the region, to the country, and to the world that Portland's coming back stronger than ever as a vital city center to be enjoyed by families, visitors, and the communities for the arts, the ballet, musical theater, Broadway shows, and so much more. This thrilling design work is ready for you. Problems previously raised have been refuted. The infrastructure for the Keller, public transit, street access for bicycles, pedestrians, cars, parking, hotel rooms, restaurants, easy access to the freeways, all is here and ready. Concerns about costs or environmental impacts of a performing arts center will be significantly ameliorated by a renovation, far over a new build, which will create more cost, require years more to complete, have more infrastructure issues, and have far more negative environmental impacts. For the DNA, this proposal is a win-win-win for our beloved city. The stunning transformation of the Keller and urban spaces around it will have a catalytic impact on the downtown and the greater Portland region. This modernization plan with planned programming of the expanded exterior spaces will transform the district into a destination during the day and the evenings throughout the year rather than only around performance times. We urge you to keep this proposal close at hand as you hear from other proposals. The DNA urges you to come back to this proposal as the win that the downtown needs now. Please approve it as soon as possible. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Our next speaker will be Brian Faricio, the Director of Portland Art Museum.
Good afternoon, Mayor, Commissioners. I'm Brian Faricio, Director of the Portland Art Museum. I'm here to speak in support of the reinvestment in the Keller Auditorium for the creation of a public-private fundraising partnership for the arts, which would include this exciting vision. My perspective is based on my background as an artist, art historian, economist, arts leader working in Newark, Chicago, Milwaukee, Tulsa, prior to my 17 years here at the Portland Art Museum. I feel strongly that now is the time for our community to not only address urgent social needs, but to also provide a sense of hope and connectivity through the arts, which bridge time and place and help us learn from diverse cultures locally and globally. For me, the economic case is clear. Downtowns are the economic heart of a city, and cities are the economic driver for the state and region. Cities that are diversified in office space, housing, education, and cultural institutions are returning to post-pandemic foot traffic levels or exceeding them. Although Portland is currently low in visitation, it is encouraging to know that the potential is here. It was when I was working at the Newark Museum of Art in the 1990s that I witnessed firsthand the power and impact of a performance venue to transform a city. The development of the New Jersey Performing Arts Center, also known as NJPAC, in downtown Newark was a $100 million plus investment by the city, state, and private citizens. It served as the cornerstone of New Jersey's largest city's revitalization when it was most needed. The project has become an inclusive institution that is a leader in arts education, a convener of civic engagement, and a catalyst for development. Annually, NJPAC generates over $46 million for the state of New Jersey and has spurred more than $240 million in adjacent property developments. History also guides us. As we know, our country's 19th century Midwest Rust Belt cities of Cleveland, Pittsburgh, Detroit, among others, faced a real urgency to evolve during the 20th century to new economies. Interestingly, it was the Cleveland Symphony, the Cleveland Museum of Art, the Carnegie Museums, and the Detroit Institute of Art that served as the anchors and economic and inspirational stimulus for these cities' renaissance. Here in Portland, we are fortunate to have a strong city plan with cohesive cultural arts and district that includes the museum, Schnitzer Hall, Hatfield Hall, Oregon Historical Society,
Portland State Universities, and the Keller, to name a few. They all contribute to a critical mass that can serve as the foundation for our rebuilding. The parts are here, but they need to be cared for and invested in. Ultimately, and more importantly than solely economics, the human case is also clear for a renewed Keller. The arts, in its many forms, connect us, help us understand and appreciate diverse views and perspectives, and foster and strengthen empathy, something that I believe is needed now more than ever. The Keller, like the Art Museum, our theaters, the ballet, the opera, and literary and culturally specific organizations can be a central ingredient to an inspiring vision for our city. Portland needs ambitious plans to show the country and the world that Portland is still a creative place where it's well worth making a visit or making a home. Thank you very much. Now it gives me great pleasure to introduce Shane Jewell, who is the director of Oregon Ballet Theater. Shane.
Thank you to the mayor and commissioners for this opportunity. My name is Shane Jewell. I'm the executive director of Oregon Ballet Theater. We are one of the primary users of the Keller Auditorium. I was asked to testify partly because of my unique experience with performing arts centers in this industry. In 2 other cities where I've served as the executive director of their ballet companies, I had to navigate both a remodel of the largest performing arts facility that was in Oklahoma City at the Civic Center Music Hall, as well as a new construction of a performing arts venue that was in Orlando at the Dr. Phillips Center for the Performing Arts. Each had their own unique ramifications, both positive and negative. I am pleased that we've been invited to participate in the restoration feasibility study. At multiple stages in the process, our team was brought in for input on how this restoration would work, not only with our performance needs, both on stage and backstage, but our customer service and audience engagement needs throughout the facility. It's important to understand there is a direct correlation to our success and the quality and amenities of our main performing arts venue. So it's wonderful to feel that our voices, our needs, our wish lists, our concerns were heard and addressed. This has not always been the case in my experience, and that oversight led to modifications and additions that were needed on the back of opening a new facility, a timely and costly lesson for all involved. I feel this report was created with the utmost care and attention to detail. There are several aspects of the report we find very exciting. The new programmable plaza as a place to preview shows or use projection mapping to increase exposure sounds truly remarkable. In a time where the arts industry is seeking to greatly enhance the experience of attending performances, this feature could go a long way towards that goal. In addition, the newly designed large lobby areas where we could have ample space not only for our guests to congregate in comfort, but adds to our revenue streams by being able to strategically activate the lobby for development, school enrollment, and merchandise. Also, the reworking of the loading dock areas and the ability to pull semis directly into the docking area without blocking the street are especially intriguing. Of course, there is much to be considered in a project of this scope. During my last experience with a PAC remodel, we were forced to move to a smaller venue during the construction phase. While it did affect our ability to do business, we were made whole by the city's support through the seasons we were relocated, and the response from our audiences upon the reopening of the new facility was transformative not only for our organization, but for the city as a whole. In summation, I'd like to express my gratitude for being brought in as a thoughtful partner in this and the opportunity to testify. I hope we can continue to have a voice in this process as it proceeds. It is of the utmost importance to the ballet as well as the future of the arts and culture in this community. Thank you. I'd like to pass it to Scott Andrews with Halpern Landscape Conservancy.
Thanks, Shane.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor, Commissioners. I'm going to try to quickly summarize why we think the renovation should happen. In Portland, we don't demolish 100-year-old historic buildings, we restore them. This neighborhood was literally built around the auditorium. The world-renowned Halpern sequence begins with the Keller Fountain, which was designed to front this important regional facility. The private sector in the neighborhood has included projects supporting the auditorium with needed resources. There are 6 parking structures within 2 blocks, offering well over 3,000 parking spaces at prices a fraction of those charged in most other locations. There are 2 major hotels offering hundreds of rooms within a block and hundreds more rooms within walking distance. There's also a number of restaurants and bars close by, making eating or meeting before or after shows easy and convenient. It would be very difficult on these facilities if Keller closed. Through our meetings with both the users, ballet, opera, Broadway, and Portland, and operators, we were able to identify and find solutions for all Keller's current deficiencies, including limited accessibility, undersized bathroom, acoustics, loading and delivery, backstage function, storage, patron amenities, and kitchen facilities. We also project that the cost to build a new venue would be much more than to renovate Keller. And if a 1,000-space or larger parking facility needs to be built, even another $100 million would be spent. Fundraising experts familiar with Portland have estimated that we can raise $50 to $100 million of privately to help fund Keller. The Keller can be remodeled in 19 months and could begin construction by 2027. A new structure would likely take at least 3 years longer to complete. As previously said, the proposed design includes upgrading the structure to new building seismic standards, meaning not only that the occupants will be safe in a major earthquake, but the building will be repairable afterwards. The cost and loss events caused by the 19-month closure can and will be mitigated. Opera and ballet, for the most part, can find alternative facilities for one season. The lost income to Portland 5 is a small fraction of the additional costs associated with a new facility. Again, the environmental impact of a renovated Keller is far less than that of a new structure and parking facility. Keller is an important piece of the Portland arts and cultural neighborhood. It's blocks from Lincoln Hall, the Schnitz, OHS, Portland Art Museum, and more. Downtown needs an auditorium of Keller's size. Finally, downtown Portland needs a project like this at a time when it's struggling. When the time comes to decide by supporting renovation, City Council's making a statement. You believe in the future of the city. Thank you, and I will hang here to help answer any questions that you might have.
Very good. And does that complete the invited testimony?
Yes, it does.
All right, colleagues, any questions at this point before we get into public? Go ahead and do that first. Why don't you guys cool your heels? We'll take the public testimony and we might invite you back up. Thank you all for your presentations. How many folks do we have signed up?
We have 10 people.
Very good. 3 minutes each, name for the record.
First up, we have Dean Barnett, followed by Mike Lindberg and John Witter.
Welcome.
Thank you. To the mayor and council, I am Dean Barnett. I live at Southwest First and Lincoln. It's at the other end of the Halpern sequence. I think the council is in an enviable position. Over my career, federal and corporate, I have encountered, as I'm sure you have, many problems where decisions were based on incomplete information. Your Keller Auditorium problem is special in that regard. The problem has been, or problems have been identified. The possible solutions have been addressed, and the costs, both financial and in time, have been mentioned. You have had time for your staff to confirm the facts that are offered in the study and in the proposal. Do the renovation. The renovation will continue to bring large crowds of very desirable people. The city, the restaurants, the lodging, and businesses, and me, all need the Keller renovation. I appreciate your attention.
We appreciate your being here. Thank you, sir.
Mike Lindberg.
Hi, Mike.
Hi. Mr. Mayor, Commissioners, my name is Mike Lindberg. I was the Arts Commissioner on the Portland City Council for 12 years, and during part of that time was overseeing the construction and operation of the Portland Arlene Schnitzer Hall and the Portland Center for Performing Arts before it was transferred to Metro. I'm here today to support the renovation of the Keller for several reasons. First, broad support exists today for a public-private partnership along the lines of what we used to create the Arlene Schnitzer Hall and adjoining arts complex. Private money is out there, and the leaders who would raise it are in the city council today. Second, it makes sense to build using this asset that already exists. Third, the renovation of the Keller is critical to the future of this vibrant cultural neighborhood that already has, as many people have pointed out, hotels, restaurants, access to transit, parks, parking, and of course, the incredible connection to the world-renowned forecourt fountain. Fourth, the current proposed design came from an international design competition and people who have been moved by the compelling vision, which you saw today. Fifth, the design and location meet the goals and policies of the city comprehensive plan. For example, one policy refers to the rehabilitation and adaptive use of buildings, particularly those of historic and cultural significance. Another policy refers to the site and context to encourage development that responds to and enhances the positive qualities of the neighborhood, the public realm, and natural features. I encourage the council to take a look at the city comprehensive plan. In closing, I would say when I left the city council, I was visiting with my friend Bill Nato about what was going to happen next. He said, Mike, the main thing is do something grand. And when I think about that, I think about the values that Bill had in terms of saving historic resources, of preservation and restoration. With that, I close. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike.
John Witter.
Welcome. Thanks for being here.
Good afternoon. I'm John Witter, a co-owner of a condominium at First and Harrison. I'm your neighbor. I walked past the Keller to get here today. I spent the last 40 or so years teaching school. The last 20 years have been international. I spent those 20 years, more than 20 years, living and traveling throughout Asia and Europe. In all that, I've noticed the great cities of the world continually have the arts, performing and visual, at their core. At the core of the thinking of the city planners, as well as at the core physically. The arts are at the core of great cities, and the Keller is at the core of Portland, Oregon. That we continue to have a world-class performing arts revenue seems to be a given. Good. I'm happy about that. It's good when two issues can have a synergistic positive solution. The Keller's due for renovation or replacement. The downtown core of Portland, likewise, needs some love. By choosing to renovate our existing performing arts venue, the Keller, where it is, would not only continue to support the core element of a great city, but at the same time, would continue to support and revitalize the Portland downtown core. I ask the City Council continue its efforts to revitalize the core of Portland by revitalizing the Keller in its current location at the core of Portland, Oregon. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Next up, we have Anne Francis, followed by Nicole Posser and Xavier Stickler.
Hi, everyone. My name is Anne Francis. I'm the Vice President for the West Coast for Broadway Across America. I'm here today also with my colleague Tracy Wenkus, who's joining and watching right now as well from Portland Theater Productions. Together with Portland Theater Productions, we've presented Broadway touring shows at the Keller since 1997. I personally have been in the market since 1998. And in the 26 years that we've been in this market, we've grown Portland to be one of the most successful one-week markets in the country and throughout BAA, Broadway Across America's network, with over 17,000 subscribers to our current season. In the fiscal year of July 22nd through the 23rd of June 2023, Broadway in Portland has hosted 8 productions at the Keller and sold over 191,000 tickets for $12.4 million in gross revenue sales. According to the Broadway League economic report that they did back in 2016, for every dollar that is spent on a Broadway ticket, $3.28 is spent on hotels, restaurants, parking, and miscellaneous throughout the downtown Portland area. This would bring our impact to the 22-23 fiscal year of over $40 million spent in Portland. While Tracy and I appreciated being invited to 2 of the planning meetings earlier this year with the design teams and project managers, I want it to be noted that we've not requested nor are leading the call for any of the internal renovations to Keller. In fact, some of them actually are a little bit counter to our business needs, specifically removing the seats in the back of the orchestra. And instead of addressing the width of the theater, where the back of the orchestra is an accessible price point for our subscribers and patrons and continually sells out, as well as closing off of 3rd Avenue to traffic limits. And we understand and support the need for the seismic structural work and commend the accessibility upgrades. And we have no comment on the cosmetic design of the plans. And we appreciate our continued involvement should you decide to pursue this plan. My main point today, though, is that Keller closing would be detrimental to our business. The span of closing Keller for 19 to 28 months, and as the report states, would impact 2 to 3 seasons worth of Broadway, not just one season as portrayed earlier. We cannot relocate to anywhere else in Portland. There are no other venue options for Broadway in this market. No other building has the seating capacity or the stage depth to handle Broadway tours. We've spent years building up this market in Portland to where it is today, to have producers consider us as a first stop on the tour for shows like Hamilton and Six. By not having a venue to program for 19 to 20 months, many Broadway tours will not play the Portland area at all, potentially diminishing the value of the market to them. We strongly encourage the recommended economic analysis take place to determine the true impact to the surrounding areas that would occur during a closure, not only to the numbers I mentioned above, but to the hundreds of stagehands and employees of Keller Auditorium. We also recommend studying the possibility of an alternative temporary venue as suggested in the plan, should it be decided that the Keller will be closed.
Thank you, Ann. Perfect timing as well.
Next up, we have Nicole Possert online.
Hi, Nicole.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Commissioners. I'm Nicole Possert. I'm the Executive Director for Restore Oregon, a historic preservation nonprofit organization that works statewide on preservation and adaptive reuse of our amazing natural and built environments. We are enthusiastically in support of the conclusions in this comprehensive study by Henneberry Eddy, and encourage the city to reuse and renovate the existing Keller Auditorium. Especially of note in this vision is to not only renovate and innovate for the Keller, but to holistically embrace and connect the Keller Fountain, part of the National Register listed Halpern open space sequence, to this vision. This enhances and supports both significant pieces of Oregon's heritage, bringing more arts and culture access to all communities and valuing the placekeeping needs for downtown Portland at this pivotal time. We'd like to thank the proactive work funded by the city, Metro, and the Halpern Landscape Conservancy for investing in real data and information contained in this study. All too often, reuse and adaptation are not given adequate upfront thought and analysis. Henneberry Eddy has innovated and demonstrated the hard numbers and data to give real good comparisons between reuse of the existing building and building new. Their conclusion clearly shows that reuse is the best, fastest, cheapest, and greenest option. I would like to just say that in conclusion, I think the long-term view is needed here. Preserving and renewing the Keller is the investment in Portland's long-term cultural well-being. And there are probably ways to overcome the challenges of a temporary closure that would be more beneficial for the entire city as a whole in the long term. Thank you very much for your time today.
Thank you. Appreciate it, Nicole.
Xavier Stickler.
Welcome.
Thank you for having me. Hello, Mayor Wheeler and Commissioners. My name is Xavier D. Stickler, and I'm a student of Architecture, Urban Design, and Transportation Planning at Portland State University. I live right next to campus at the university. Today, the city finds itself in a difficult position. Budget crunches, a deeply changed economy in an uncertain post-pandemic world, social upheaval, and now the urgent need to do something with a major asset, the Keller, necessitating forward action with inaction simply not being tenable. I'm here today to tell you that should be to renovate, not abandon and replace the Keller. COVID-19 forever changed the world, and the office market will simply never be the same. The future of downtowns is not endless office blocks that empty out once the clock hits 5, but continuously lively affairs where arts, culture, and connection are the foundation. While other proposals have merit, I would encourage you to also consider all the surrounding costs associated with moving and redeveloping Portland's flagship performing arts venue, the hotels, the restaurants, and most notably, the parking. It's probable that a 1,500 to 2,000 parking stall garage would cost tens of millions, if not hundreds of millions of dollars. In a soft parking market within the central business district, to put it lightly, and with constricted private capital for projects of the type, I have no doubt that the city would need to be the one to spearhead such an investment in automotive infrastructure during a climate crisis. That just shouldn't be. I can't think of a better use of this site across from the renowned Keller Fountain other than that of one of true public access. This building is salvageable. It is deserved of being saved. While a concern about missing an entire season of Broadway shows is certainly a salient one, my grandmother is a Broadway subscriber, and I've grown up my entire life in Portland seeing shows at the Keller, it remains the fiscally responsible move to renovate in place. Additionally, I'd like to speak about how this renovation has the potential to help Portland move forward, not look back. Portland has often been known as an architecturally conservative city and has succumbed to such a reputation as it regards our urban design and transportation after so many years of stagnation. This breathtaking design has the potential to change that and catapult us to the world-class city we have the potential to be. I would implore all of you to sit with this design and these renders. This will radically change Portland's skyline. I believe strongly that this auditorium could be as synonymous with Portland as the Hawthorne Bridge, Big Pink, and Forest Park. With this simple proposal, a once-in-a-century change for the better can be made in just a few years. The Downtown Neighborhood Association hears quite frequently from state, regional, and city leaders how concerned they are with the prosperity of downtown. We appreciate the statements of support, yet the question remains, are we as a region merely interested in revitalizing our downtown, our civic core, our arts hub, or are we committed? Speaking for myself, I'm committed. I ask you to keep the Keller, invest in downtown, support the central city, and believe in Portland. Thank you so much.
Excellent. Thank you.
Next up, we have Susan Ranker, followed by Henry Schwartz and Connie Denal.
Thanks for being here.
Actually, I'm Susan Ranker. My husband's Henry Schwartz, and I'm expressing what Connie Denal feels. So I represent three of us who live in Portland Plaza.
Terrific. Thank you.
Okay. We oversee the Keller Auditorium and the fountain, and we are here to express our support for this outstanding renovation as presented by the Hannity Entity Architects. Basically, many of these points have been made, but our three major points for rebuilding another performing arts center at a different location does not make sense for the following reasons. One is the location. As many people have pointed out, there are numerous hotels, restaurants, public transportation at this site. Secondly, the cost of renovating the existing structure would be far less than new construction, including potential demolition, zoning site, soils evaluation, design, and permitting. Shorter time to completion of the project versus new site and construction might be an additional bonus. Most important to us, and my husband and I go to all the ballets, all the symphonies, all the productions at the musical at the Keller, and most of the people in Portland Plaza do too. And the loss of a cultural core and destination that represents a tradition and pride in the performing arts is what's at stake here. The Keller Auditorium has and will continue to bring people to downtown neighborhood as it has for 100 years. The continuation of this tradition is sorely needed at this time of renewal to the cultural and university district of the west end of downtown Portland. These districts have already been clearly defined. Local Northwest Oregonians and Washingtonians are hungry for building on a history and tradition. The loss of the Keller Auditorium would negatively affect the vitality of the entire residential and commercial neighborhood. At this time, people are still willing to come downtown to a performance, as we observed recently, of the musical Tina, sold out. In conclusion, we extend our support for renovating this outstanding proposal for the renovation of Keller Auditorium.
Thank you.
Henry Schwartz will not be testifying, and Connie Denal.
This was from the three of us.
Okay, great, thank you. So our last testifier is Suzanne Nance.
Hi, Suzanne.
Hello. I'm Suzanne Nance, the President and CEO of All Classical Radio. We are the largest megaphone for the region in terms of arts and cultural awareness. We, as the Oregonian so beautifully pointed out, are the #1 classical radio station in the country for market share. There's a reason Portland hosts the #1 classical music radio station. With nearly 250,000 of our neighbors regularly tuning in, with listeners streaming across the United States and now in more than 100 countries, when people listen to All Classical, they hear the narrative of our city and our people. They experience our artistry and that of our regional creatives and culture bearers. We wholeheartedly support the efforts to revitalize Keller Auditorium and build bigger in terms of the arts. Recently, we applied for funding from Mackenzie Scott with the Yield Grant Open Call. And we posed the question, what would happen if we invested in the arts to address our greatest societal issues? We've never done it as a nation. We've never done it as a society. But the stats are real. We didn't have them years ago when I went to state houses and to speak with amazing individuals like you and all of our cultural leaders that are here today and our business leaders. We have them now. We know the power of the arts. When we educate through the arts, when we start at the root base, we can solve the greater issues. And I applaud you for considering this proposal and for moving forward with it. Portland does need a win. And in May, All Classical Radio announced that we would move into the heart of downtown Portland. We will move into Coin Tower as of March or April 2024. We are in a $10 million capital campaign, and we are investing big time in this city because our region deserves it. Our creatives need it, and we will build that center. We will build a media, arts, and community center right across the street from the Keller Auditorium, and it will give me great joy to walk across the street to be able to broadcast live from that great hall and showcase who we are as a people, as creative thinkers and critical thinkers, as thought leaders, as innovators. And I am so proud to be a part of this great city. I'm so excited by the opportunities that we have as a people to do better, to build better. And I know what we can do together. So I just want to be here to support everyone who's standing up for this cause and also represent All Classical Radio and know that you have our partnership, you have our championship, and you have our megaphone, which again is the largest megaphone for the arts in the region. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And we appreciate you moving into Coin Tower. That's great. Thank you.
That completes testimony.
All right, very good. Colleagues, that completes public testimony. Any further questions, thoughts, ideas? If not, I'll entertain a motion to accept the report.
So moved. Second.
Commissioner Ryan moves, Commissioner Gonzalez seconds. Any further discussion on the report? Seeing none, please call the roll.
Gonzalez.
As we work to recover and get back to life as a vibrant, forward-thinking city, investments that support the arts and people coming back out to downtown, no less, are more important than ever. It is also important to keep in mind costs as we work to meet multiple challenges as a city with aging infrastructure, the humanitarian crisis on our streets, and the important public safety and utility bureaus facing deep cuts. A renovation of existing space can help ease this burden while also achieving multitude of goals. This proposal and some of the scenarios outlined are exciting because it speaks to activating space in a new and exciting way, but also preserving a venue with deep roots in our local history. It is innovative in its design of public space, in its restoration and preservation of that space, in particular turning a section of 3rd Avenue into a pedestrian thoroughfare and incorporating adjacent parks in a dynamic way. Here, the importance of this project looks to be greater than the sum of its parts. That is an exciting prospect for potential impact. It also keeps key programs and seasons of performance going, which we desperately need as a community, and which also deserves our continued support on their own. We should do as much as we can to ensure that existing theaters, dance, and music productions have as much support and continuity as possible, especially after weathering the challenges of such difficult times in the recent past. I'd also like to emphasize the importance of holding to a spring decision date on this matter next year. Our city requires action and clear direction, and this project holds tremendous potential to shape our future and revive our city in a way it desperately needs. I vote to accept the report.
Rubio.
Thank you, Mayor, for bringing this item forward. I want to thank all the folks, Scott, Tim, John, everybody, for this incredibly exciting, well-represented report about one of our most iconic and important institutions in Portland. As the city's liaison to Travel Portland and the Visitors Development Board, I understand how difficult that this work has been for the last number of years. I want to acknowledge that, and also the challenges experienced by our hospitality industry and our P5 institutions. And this project is really exciting project that definitely gets right to the heart of our work to support and reinvigorate our downtown. And so I'm really eager to support and see where this project goes. I believe that renovating this institution is such an important symbol during an important time for our city in so many ways. And I, for one, am really interested in standing up downtown projects, especially those that, are very cognizant of their carbon impact as fast and feasibly as possible, especially for our arts community, especially for our residents and our local economy. And at the core, this building, the Keller, is Portland, and it really does represent us on so many levels. So that's why it really speaks to me. So I look forward to the continued engagement with you as we move forward with the final concept for this project and hope to learn more. I vote aye.
Ryan.
Yes. Wow, that was a great presentation. Thank you for bringing so much enthusiasm to the dais today. I want to thank all our presenters. It was a very impressive design concept and report. I really appreciate the time, energy, and private capital that you've all put into propelling this conversation forward. You presented an incredibly exciting vision for a first-class reimagined performing arts facility. As you know, we're in a tough spot, especially in downtown. And I believe our way forward is arts activation, like many of you commented on. Yes, indeed, arts, entertainment, cultural opportunities are going to continue to be a key part of our recovery. And please excuse why I go on a little bit here. This is important, and now I feel it's the right time to say it. In countless examples across the globe, arts and entertainment have brought back cities. For example, who has really ever thought of Fresno, California? I looked into this. Well, in Fresno, California, prior to the pandemic, Fresno was down and out shell of a city. Today, Fresno is recording more foot traffic than it did in the years before the pandemic. How? With art and music. Fresno has the largest collection of outdoor art in California, and galleries and artists have moved into empty office spaces, street fairs with art and food, successfully drawing hordes of people to engage with each other and spend money in their city. As a community, we need to double down on our efforts to entice people to come downtown for reasons other than working in an office. Kudos to the architecture student who came up here and educated all of us on this better than I can. So imagine our city streets filled nightly the way they are in art markets and events, like during the Winter Light Festival, like first and last Thursdays, like Portland's Night Market, Let's Be Friends Market, Naya Market. These are just a few examples of events that bring neighbors and artists together. When activations are paired with state-of-the-art performing arts centers, greatness is possible. A vibrant, economically robust Portland is within our reach. And I hear my colleagues, we're all echoing this. We all agree the arts and music scene is one of our greatest assets, if not the greatest at this time. But like our roads, bridges, trees, and natural areas, if we fail to have a vision for the future of arts in this city, if we fail to invest in the future of arts in this city, we will not have an art scene, and we will not be giving people reasons to explore and enjoy our city. With no foot traffic, improvements in safety also suffer. We must show our values by investing in our arts and venues, and we will lose one of our principal identities if we do not. The Keller, as a main presenter of arts, is incredibly important to our arts recovery, and I'm committed to working with the community to find real solution to the temporary challenge during the 19-month construction phase. And kudos to the team of volunteers who have engaged many during the information gathering phase, where we actually have local and regional government, those who actually perform programming on the stage. A little shameless plug, I do believe Swan Lake opens on October 6th. All right. Business and property owners working together to explore a renovation of one of our most important performing arts buildings and the opportunity to explore what a new site might look like for a larger performing arts center. And did I hear you right? 50 to 100 million commitment in private investments. Portland, that's how we move forward. It's with public and private partnerships. That's always how cities have moved forward where they're in trouble, and that's what we're going to do again today. But whatever happens, I do recognize the importance of the Keller site facing the Keller fountain. The fountain is not only historic, in my opinion, and all of yours, it's beautiful. And sometimes it just feels hidden. It's like we have this beautiful design that we're hiding, and we need to open up this visual jewel. This design before us today, by adding the plaza between the building and the fountain, restores the fountain as a showpiece. Whatever happens at this site, it needs to be worthy of facing such an important civic space. While no decisions are being made today, I know I join my colleagues with excitement as we work together to envision what is possible in the days ahead. I look forward to continuing this conversation in the months to come, and I'd like to extend my sincere gratitude to the Halpern Conservancy, John, Tim, Diana, Karen, Scott. I know I'm missing a few people. You've all done great work, and please continue to enjoy working with one another for a few more years, okay? All right. That was fun. I want to just say that would New York ever debate the renovation of Lincoln Center and the circular fountain in front? No. Nor should we debate the renovation of the Keller Performance Hall and fountain. Let's get this done. I accept this report and look forward to the next steps as Portland's entertainment venues and the future of arts as a driver of Portland's economic vitality become realized and actualized. I accept the report.
Wheeler.
Well, I just want to say the same thing my colleagues have said. This report really represents the spirit of our city. It's a meeting of the creative minds from the public sector, from the private sector, from residents who are nearby, from people who are actively engaged in performing arts, and many, many others. It's about passion for our community, and it's an opportunity for us to do one of those important resets. Dreaming is fun. Pragmatism can also be fun. The Keller has a significant impact on Portland's companies, on jobs, and on our local economy. We have an arduous job ahead of us as a city council. We have to evaluate both the concept design work presented to us today, and I was very, very excited by what I saw, and additional information in the coming months regarding potential designs on a new site for a new performing arts facility. And I have to just remind us all, there is an RFP out, so we're not making any decisions here today. One thing, however, is crystal clear, and everybody who testified today underscored this point. Our community needs a state-of-the-art performing arts facility. And everybody also mentioned the need to revitalize the urban core of our city. I feel very, very strongly about both of these things. We as a council look forward to receiving further information in the upcoming months so this council can make a unified, well-informed decision on this project. In the meanwhile, thank you everyone who came in today. It's not every single item that we hear before this council that is so uplifting, so visionary, and so compelling in terms of what our community can be. I vote aye, and the report is accepted. Thank you all. Thank you. Appreciate it. Next, this should be relatively short. Next item, please, 820, a proclamation. Why don't you wait one sec? Let's. And folks, we've got another item coming up right away. So if we could just ask people to take the conversations outside. Don't make me use the gavel. Folks, I'm going to need you to take the conversations outside, please. Karen, looking at you. John, looking at you. Karen, looking at you. I need a bigger gavel.
Metaphor. We need a bigger gavel.
I knew you were going to say that. I just knew it. Saw that one coming a mile away.
I didn't mean it quite that way.
Yes,
I meant
you
it
did.
is. I guess totally as a city, we need a bigger gavel.
Oh, please, Keelan.
Proclaim September 15th through October 15th, 2023 to be Latinx Heritage Month.
Good afternoon, everyone. Our next item is a proclamation honoring September 15th to October 15th, 2023 as Latinx Heritage Month here in the city of Portland. I'm grateful that we're here this afternoon to celebrate such a vibrant and important part of Portland. At about 10% of Portland's population, the Latinx community is part of every facet of local life. This includes boosting our economy while bringing immense contributions to our social and our cultural fabric. I look forward to today's presentation, and I will pass this over to Commissioner Rubio, our fearless leader on this item. Commissioner Rubio.
Thank you, Mayor. I'll start by saying that at the respectful request of the presenters today that we at Council be brief in our intro so we will forego council comments following the presentation to prioritize the staff presentation so that they can get to Latinx Heritage Month celebration that follows downstairs. So Latinx Heritage Month is a time when we lift up the diverse cultures that make up the Latinx and Latine community in Portland and the experiences that educate, inform, and inspire us as we carry on the work of the city every day. For many of us who are immigrants or children or grandchildren of immigrants, we know that we are all the manifestation of our parents' hopes, dreams, and resiliency, and we can honor their sacrifices by being good stewards of our community, building new relationships, and continuing to break barriers in support of the next generation, like the one that is at the table. I've shared on many occasions about my own family's immigrant story, about my experiences, our identity and culture, and how that all led very directly to the path that I feel like I am on today. And all of these things have shaped my identity, and it's how I show up here at work every day. Aw, you okay?
Oh, you came prepared with this sucker. That was
smart.
Looking at next year's budget.
That is a mom who knows her thing. That's
Good point. So I want to acknowledge also my colleague, Commissioner Rene Gonzalez, and his leadership and all his contributions as well to our community preceding his time here and during his time here. And I also want to acknowledge the community and civic leaders in the Latinx community who are working hard to create opportunity, support higher education, prepare emerging leaders to achieve their dreams, contributing to our economy, and making their own unique contributions to our city while maintaining and building generational wealth for our families. As an example, Portland State University will become the first university in the Pacific Northwest to offer a major in Chicano Latino studies and is an emerging Hispanic serving institution with more than 23% of its full-time undergraduates identifying as Latinx. And importantly for today, I want to appreciate all the outstanding Latinx employees here at the city, including those seasonal workers and workers who don't have access to citywide emails and gatherings as well. We see you and we appreciate you and what you bring to Portland. We know that representation matters, and I am so proud to see this work alive and underway in our city and in the leadership that is represented here today. Finally, I want to thank Latinx PDX Affinity Group and our Latinx Heritage Month Planning Committee for all their hard work and dedication and for holding space and community and for the employees of the city. So now I will turn it over to Commissioner Gonzalez for a few words before we have the presentation and the proclamation.
Thank you, Commissioner Rubio. As the father of 3 biracial Latino children in the city of Portland and the husband of a strong Latino woman, I'm immensely grateful to welcome you today. Today, we celebrate the contributions of Latino individuals and families to the city of Portland. They have played an integral part in shaping our city's culture, economy, and social fabric. We are a large part of the city's future. Today's proclamation for Latino Heritage Month is an opportunity for us to acknowledge and honor the rich cultural heritage, achievements, and the positive impacts that Latinos residents have had and currently have on our city. It's also an opportunity for us to celebrate our diversity. Our Latino residents come from a wide range of backgrounds, cultures, and traditions, and their contributions enrich the Portland community. A diversity of spices makes the best salsas and the best of cities. During this month, let us make an effort to support Latino-owned community organizations and businesses in our cities. They are a central part of our local economy and deserve our support. Sigamos adelante, Latinos in Portland. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Rubio and Commissioner Gonzalez and Mayor. Good afternoon, Mayor and Commissioners. Thank you for welcoming us here today. My name is Ana Maria Perez. My pronouns are she, her, and I'm a data analyst at the Bureau of Planning and Sustainability, and also one of the co-chairs of Latinx PDX. Latinx PDX is a City of Portland affinity group or employee resource group for Latinx/Latine employees. Throughout the year, Latinx PDX plans events and activities to build community among each other, support employee development and growth by going to conferences and providing trainings, and advocate for policy along with our fellow affinity groups. It is a Latinx PDX annual tradition to come to City Council and present a proclamation for Latinx Heritage Month, and we are very happy to be here again this year, and in person too. So usually in the news and in other forms of media, we hear and see Latinx stories that are full of struggle, hardship, pain, and many times sadness. While these stories are very real and worth telling, and we will touch on some of them here today, this year we want to center and celebrate another side of us and our community. And that is why we chose joy to be our theme for 2023's Latinx Heritage Month. We want to humanize our community beyond numbers, beyond our economic contributions and consumption, and beyond our countless accomplishments. While they are great and growing, but instead, we want to remind everyone that we too are deserving of and experience joy. We do not need to earn or justify joy by working hard or sacrificing our well-being. We, as Latinx people, are deserving of and experience joy simply because we are human, and joy is necessary to keep going. And with that, I'm honored to hand it off to my wonderful colleagues here to introduce themselves and to read the proclamation in Spanish and in English.
Thank you so much. For the record, my name is Maria Hernandez Segoviano, and this is Ali Mateo. I am Senior Community Engagement Coordinator at PBOT. It's quite an honor to be here and to also be reading this to you in Spanish and celebrate joy and be with joy. Proclamación en celebración del mes de la herencia latina. Considerando que estamos orgullosos de reconocer y celebrar el mes de la herencia latina. Mami. Sí. Del 15 de septiembre.
Mira, mami.
Sí, mi amor. And this is joy. del 15 de septiembre al 15 de octubre cada año, y considerando que el Mes Nacional de la Herencia Hispana comenzó hace más de medio siglo como una celebración de una semana de 1968, en 1988 se extendió a una celebración de un mes, celebrando las historias, la literatura, las culturas, artes, música, contribuciones de cuyos antepasados procedían de México, el Caribe y América Central y del Sur. También para honrar antepasados procedían de México, también para honrar los aniversarios de la independencia de los países latinoamericanos, Costa Rica, El Salvador, Guatemala, Honduras, Nicaragua, México, Chile y Belice, así como honrar el Día de la Raza de México. Y considerando que la comunidad hispana y latina es la comunidad de color más grande en la ciudad de Portland y en Oregón, cuya historia y composición es rica y diversa. Muchos de ellos son indígenas, inmigrantes, refugiados y descendientes de África y Asia que hablan muchos otros idiomas, además del español, como primera lengua. Las comunidades latinas suelen ser trabajadores esenciales de primera línea, trabajadores agrícolas, trabajadores comunitarios de salud, educadores, y son y han sido contribuyentes críticos en todas las profesiones por el bienestar de esta ciudad. Y considerando que la comunidad latina ha creado y establecido instituciones para resistir la desigualdad y defenderse a sí misma. Y considerando sí se puede, junto con los valores de familia y comunidad, el cómo honramos y recordamos a nuestros antepasados, la conexión con nuestras raíces africanas, asiáticas e indígenas, las tradiciones de organización y las reuniones comunitarias como esta han servido como modelos de resistencia contra la injusticia. Y considerando que a pesar de las contribuciones y todos los logros, el racismo sistémico persiste en los Estados Unidos y en el mundo, generando una resistencia continua que exige una frente unido y un cambio institucional y social duradero para la libertad de nuestros hermanos negros y así lograr la libertad para todos. Y considerando Latinx PDX, un grupo de empleados de la ciudad de Portland, valora profundamente las contribuciones que aportan los miembros de la comunidad hispana y latina al bienestar social, económico, físico, cultural y a la prosperidad general de la ciudad de Portland. Y considerando que Latinx PDX sirve como un puente para fomentar un sentido de pertenencia y alegría entre la comunidad latina y nuestros vecinos en todos los orígenes, para apoyar su bienestar y brindar un auténtico enriquecimiento cultural y educativo a través de eventos, talleres de educación, capacitación de comunidad y muchísimo más. Considerando que alentamos a todos los residentes de Portland a unirse a nuestro compromiso contra el racismo, xenofobia y odio y construir una comunidad unida, abrazar el "tu lucha es mi lucha" por un mundo más pacífico y justo. Y considerando que nos comprometemos a apoyar y fortalecer a nuestra comunidad latina a través de nuestras asociaciones continuas, considerando que nos comprometemos a apoyar y fortalecer a nuestras comunidades latinas a través de nuestras asociaciones continuas que fomentan el entendimiento cultural y profundan nuestro aprecio por la amplia gama de contribuciones que nuestra comunidad latina aporta a la calidad de vida tanto con nuestra comunidad como con todo el país. Y por cuanto hoy celebramos y damos la bienvenida a todos a celebrar con nosotros, todos, yes, y nosotros, y continuar, I know, right? Y continuar apoyando a nuestras comunidades, I know, todo, Romy, allá. Apoyando a nuestras comunidades a medida que construimos una nación más fuerte a través de la inclusión y la unidad hoy y en el futuro. Sí, se puede. Ahora, por lo tanto, se resuelve que la ciudad de Portland, por lo presente de proclamación, reconoce y honra el 15 de septiembre al 15 de octubre como el mes de la herencia latina. Gracias.
Hi, everybody. It's such a joy to be here today, especially with the Latinx PDX employee resource group here. It's really excited to see City Hall filled up with our Latinx employees. My name's Goldan Salazar. My pronouns are she, her. I'm a coordinator in the Portland Water Bureau, and I'm a co-chair of the Latinx PDX Employee Resource Group, and it's kind of fun to be on this side of the podium and giving testimony today. So today I'm going to be reading the proclamation in English, and then we will get to celebrating in the atrium. So I'll just get started. The proclamation and celebration of Latinx Heritage Month. Whereas we are proud to recognize and celebrate Latinx Heritage Month from September 15th to October 15th every year, and whereas National Hispanic Heritage Month began more than half a century ago as a week-long celebration in 1968. In 1988, it was extended to be a month long, celebrating the stories, literature, cultures, arts, music, and contributions of those whose ancestors came from Mexico, the Caribbean, Central and South America. Also to honor the anniversaries of the independence of Latin American countries, Costa Rica, El Salvador, Guatemala, Honduras, Nicaragua, Mexico, Chile, and Belize, as well as to honor Mexico's Day of the Race. And whereas the Hispanic and Latinx community is the largest community of color in the city of Portland and in Oregon, whose history and makeup is rich and diverse, with many being indigenous, immigrants, refugees, and descendants of Africa and Asia, who speak many other languages other than Spanish as their first language. Latinx communities are often frontline essential workers, farm workers, community health workers, educators, and are critical contributors in all professions to the well-being of this city. And whereas the Latinx community has created and established institutions in order to resist inequality and to advocate for themselves. And whereas Si Se Puede lives alongside values of family and community, how we honor and remember our ancestors, connection to our African, Asian, and indigenous roots, traditions of organizing and community gatherings have served as models for resistance against injustice. And whereas, despite the contributions and accomplishments, systemic racism persists in the United States and in the world, generating continued resistance that calls for united front and lasting institutional and societal change for the freedom of our Black brothers, sisters, and siblings, thus bringing freedom to all. And whereas Latinx PDX, a City of Portland employee resource group, deeply values the contributions that members of the Hispanic and Latinx community make to the social, economic, physical, and cultural well-being and overall prosperity of the City of Portland. And whereas Latinx PDX serves as a bridge to cultivate a sense of belonging and joy between the Latinx community and our neighbors of all backgrounds, to support their well-being and provide authentic cultural enrichment and education through events, workshops, community trainings, and much more. Whereas we encourage all Portlanders to join our commitment against racism, xenophobia, and hate, and build a community and embrace your fight is my fight for a peaceful and just world. And whereas we are committed to supporting and strengthening our Latinx community through our ongoing partnerships, which foster cultural understandings and deepen our appreciation for the wide range of contributions our Latinx community brings to our quality of life, both in our community and across the world. Whereas today we celebrate and welcome all to celebrate with us and to continue to support our communities as we build a stronger nation through inclusion and unity today and beyond. And with that, si se puede, and I'll pass it to the mayor to make the final.
Now, therefore, I, Ted Wheeler, Mayor of the City of Portland, Oregon, the City of Roses, do hereby proclaim September 15th through October 15th, 2023 to be Latinx Heritage Month in Portland and encourage all residents to observe this month. Thank you all for your incredible presentation today. And do you want to say just a bit about what's happening downstairs and close this out?
Absolutely. Thank you, Mayor Wheeler. Thank you, Maria and Goldan, for presenting with me today and presenting our proclamation. And thank you again, commissioners, for welcoming us into the chambers today. This concludes our proclamation reading, and we welcome you all to our celebration that is starting right now in the City Hall atrium, where we will have food, live music, and dancing, and even a dance lesson. So if you're nervous about dancing, you can learn here today, and that'll be ongoing until 6 p.m. this evening. So thank you again, and happy Latinx Heritage Month. Woo.
We are adjourned.
Can we get a
Thank you.